Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Thursday, the 9th of May. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Stevie Clifford. Good to have you back on, Stevie. How's it going?
Yeah, Derek, good morning. Well, you know how it's been going, but we'll share everybody that ram, and yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We won't go into details. Fair to say you've been on the toilet a fair bit, but we've all been there, Stevie. But quick word before we dive into
Thanks
all
for that,
things.
Derek. Thanks for that.
Before we dive out into all things Rangers, MPH Boilers, folks, you know the drill by now. If you want a new boiler, then they've got some wonderful Viessmann boilers on offer. They've got flexible finance options. First year service is free, and they also throw in a free internet controller as well. The all-important links are in the description below. Now, just 2 sleeps to go until the big one, Judgment Day at Parkhead. Before we dive into some transfer news, we're not even into the transfer window, but a number of players that have been linked in one loanee. We'll bring you an update shortly. But Stevie, how's the confidence levels heading into Saturday? Can Rangers do it, do you reckon?
Of course they can. Whether they will or not is another prospect, isn't it? But it's a game of football, Derek. Anything can happen. Are we favourites? Probably not. They've hit a wee bit of form. We're going there with no fans. We've got a lot of injuries. It's kind of all against us. But stranger things have happened. And we just need to go there with a positive mindset. No matter what happens on Saturday, Derek, I'd like it to be on our terms. Go and do it our way. And if we're not good enough and we get beat because of it, then fine. But don't go and freeze and do what we did in the last game where the first half's a write-off and you're 2-0 down before we go and stuff like that. So if we're going to get beat, let's do it on our terms and let's make sure we work them and make sure that, we force them to play well and it's not just handed to them the way we did in the last game. So anything can happen, Derek. I'm ultra confident or anything like that. I wouldn't say so, but it's not like I'm going there giving up. So just need to get behind the players and see where it takes us.
Yeah, here. Right, but we'll discuss the game in more detail later on, but we'll touch on some of the news affecting Rangers that you'll have seen yesterday. This is news that sort of emerged, I think, tail end of last week, over the weekend, that Rangers and RC Lons were in discussions about potentially either extending Oscar's stay at Rangers, given he has been out injured for a considerable period of time, or indeed a permanent transfer. Now, reports, I believe it comes from its homeland over in Colombia, Canal RCN says it's expected in the coming days conversations will take place between both clubs to determine whether Cortes will remain at Rangers or return to France. The next few days will be crucial to define the future of Oscar Cortes and know if he'll continue his career at Rangers or he'll return to Lons. Spoke briefly about this with Joshua yesterday, Stevie. I think if Rangers can agree another loan deal with Lons for Oscar Cortes, I think most supporters would be quite happy with that, and as opposed to shelling out a chunk of cash in the summertime. What's your feeling on the thing? I would like to see more of him, I've got to say. Hugely unfortunate that he picked up that hamstring injury away at Rugby Park. I think Rangers have badly missed him, and I would like to see him in a Rangers jersey next season. Would you agree?
Yeah, I've spoke about it quite a bit before. I think that he's got the right profile. He's the right age. He's athletic. He's somebody that I like the early look of. Can't say that I know massive amounts about him other than what we've seen in the Rangers jersey. So definitely with you need to see a lot more before I would commit £3-4 million to him or whatever. But another loan deal would be ideal. It's no coincidence, Derek, that as he started to play well, we started to play well, and as he came out the team, we promptly fell to bits. So It's not only on him. Red Van and stuff like that has obviously had a massive impact also, but I feel that he brings that balance and that natural kind of width on the right side that's quite a good profile for us. So I would like to see a lot more of him, absolutely, and hopefully that deal will get done. I'm quite confident that he'll be here next season, Derek. So hopefully that's just the start of what is a major transfer rebuild.
Yeah, in terms of the issue of wingers, Stevie, Rangers don't have many, if any, at this moment in time. I think that is an area that needs to be addressed, doesn't it? I mean, if we bring in Cortes, Abdallah Sima, it remains to be seen if Rangers can work out a deal with Brighton for his services. Scott Wright, you'd imagine, would be moving on in the summer. Rabbi Matondo is another one. Who else? Rangers need someone on the right-hand side, I think, but it is an area of the pitch they need to strengthen this summer, isn't it? Because Philip Clement does like to play with wingers on either side.
Here's another question to flip that for you, Derek. Is there a position that we don't need to strengthen?
Yeah.
Because, Robbie McCrory is going to leave in the summer. We'll need to go and get another goalkeeper, heavily linked again with Liam Kelly. Are we going to get some centre-backs? We need a left-back, we need a right-back, we need some midfielders, we need wingers, we need a striker. So, it's
everywhere.
Yeah, it's where you prioritise these things. It's going to be, it's going to be the kind of conundrum for Clement. So, do we need wingers? I absolutely do, on both sides, I would say. So, yeah, it's a real problem, isn't it? It's especially a problem on Saturday. No natural width, no natural flair. So, yeah, I would like to see some exciting kind of wingers and players come in, people that can shoot and score goals and contribute numbers. I think that is vital. I think, again, we're back at the stage where we probably need a number 10 rather, that can produce consistent numbers and stuff as well. And that's a big one as well, and then you've got centre-back issue to solve. What do we do with left-back? If McCrory goes, do we need another goalie? There's going to be interest in Butland. There's so many conundrums for the summer. It's going to be a massive summer, that's for sure. There is going to be a huge rebuild, so it's going to be interesting.
Yep, feeling of deja vu from last season when we're all discussing the summer rebuild that was going to take place, and we're in pretty much in the exact same position, which is not ideal, it's fair to say. Interesting point coming in just off the back of potential movement in the summer. You'd have seen reports yesterday. William says, is there any truth in the Jose Cordoba rumours? This is a big Panama centre-back that plays for Levski Sofia. That name still sends shivers down my spine. Over in Bulgaria. Centre-back, like Stevie mentioned there, is another area of the pitch where Rangers will need to strengthen in the summer. We've had Dion Sanderson heavily linked last week, and now we've got Jose Cordoba linked as well. I believe he was linked, I think it was it January or last summer, perhaps. Don't know too much about the player, Stevie, but again, it's an area that Rangers, again, will be looking to strengthen and look at the centre-backs at this moment in time. You'd imagine Ben Davies will be likely to move on in the summer. Leon Balogun's out of contract. Jury's out on Connor Goldson. I know Philip Clement says he expects him to be a Rangers player next season. And who else? You've got John Suter in there. You need reinforcements in centre-back.
I'd say the only person that's safe at centre-back currently is John Suter. So yeah. I would think they would look for a left-sided defender to complement him. Jose Cordoba is a left-sided centre-back. He is strong, powerful, likes a big pass. Got a wee bit of pace. Not overly quick, but he's got a wee bit of pace, and he's a big lad. So here, this will shock you, Derek. Football Manager players everywhere will know about Jose Cordoba. He is one of your go-to bargain buys at the start of every game. A left-sided centre-back. He is absolutely unreal. You can offload him for a whole lot of money once he gets much better. So, yeah, based on that logic entirely, Derek, and how I rule my life, he's good enough for me. So I'd love to think that there was a truth in this. He has been linked for a long time, linked last summer, as you said, January as well. So entered in the last year of his contract, I believe. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I've heard a few names actually in the last few days that are interesting. So he's one that would definitely tick boxes.
Yeah, I was going to put it to you about Football Manager. Shona gets in touch. She said, ask Stevie McCord Football Manager. So I guess it's something that you harp on about before. But Jose Cordoba linked with Rangers. Certainly fits the profile. Young, looks like a big strapping lad as well. And Rangers need to reduce the average age of the squad, Stevie. I think that's fair to say. It is a pretty aging side, and the players that have been linked are on the sort of the right side of 20, if you like, because Rangers need to kickfire this player trading model back into gear, and you want to buy players that are on the right side of 20 that you can perhaps flip in one or two years and make a profit on.
Derek, I still think we can make a lot of money in the summer. People have said that that's a bit crazy, but there's money to be made there depending on who goes out. Yanis Hadji, Sam Lammers are going to make the club money. It might not be massive money, but £5-6 million in there could pay for, a couple of players coming in. And then, if you really wanted to gamble a wee bit wider, Ridvan Yilmaz is worth money. Jack Butland is worth money. There's going to be interest in these boys again. So, and then you look kind of wider. Is there more players there you could get £3 million for or whatever? Rabbi Matondo, could you get $2 million for Rabbi? And then all these wee kind of $2 million, $3 million, $4 million add up. Jack Butland, I don't think you would look to lose for less than 10. Ridvan Yilmaz, you're looking £6-7 million. If he had not got injured and kept going, you would have been able to justify that fee because he was looking fantastic. And given how much we spent on him, you can understand that. So I don't think that they've got somebody that can go for 20 million, but they've got players that can get them between 10 and 15 million coming in. And if you've got a wee bit of a budget on top of that, then I don't think we're in as bad a shape kind of for getting money in for players as people might think. Somebody's going to pay for Yanis Hadji. I mean, I think Galatasaray would pay for Yanis Hadji no matter what. And yeah, as CGM just says there, like you could get for all them kind of boys, you're getting 10-12 million pound upwards, add them all in, probably a lot more than that. So I don't think we're in a terrible state with the player trading model as such. We just don't have that Calvin Bassey 22-23 million pound one that we can go and win it. But once Jose Cordoba comes in, Derek, we can do that in a couple of summers, no bother.
Some points coming in we'll address. First of all, some nice words to your good self, Stevie. Stevie Wilson at the famous Three Bears says, a big thank you to Stevie auctioned one of my paintings at Parkfoot Social Club in Kilsyth recently for my charity Revive MS support. It did very well helping people with multiple sclerosis. So there you go, some kind words from Stevie Wilson, who writes brilliant Rangers books for kids. Incidentally, folks, do go and check him out on Facebook. But yes, Stevie? I
was just going to say, can I just say thank you to that man? I never got to see him on Friday night. We had a night in Kilsyth with Ian Durant and Chris Boyd, Derek, and I never got a chance to go and thank the gentleman for donating it and putting it up. I think we got £250 for it for multiple sclerosis. So it was a really wonderful thing to do, and it was a great night in Kilsyth, a lovely audience. So thank you to the gentleman for the nice words, but I didn't do anything, Derek. It wasn't me. I just basically stood there and invited bids for the auction. It's people that donate and people that bid that make these things. So, thank you to that gentleman, and hopefully that wee bit of money that goes some way to helping the charity.
Yeah, love hearing stories like that. Just on Cyril Dessers, just on players that could be leaving in the summer. This point from James Skeen, just chuckling away there, Stevie. Dessers got 20 goals, so I think we make our money back at least. This is where I am on Cyril Dessers, pretty much like Antonio Cholak last season. I said on record I would like to keep Antonio around if he was happy to be a squad player. I thought he could certainly contribute this season. He would have bagged in at least 15 to 20 goals this season if Rangers kept him. I've no... I believe that would have occurred. However, Rangers at this moment in time, Danilo's out injured. Cyril Dessers is the man that we're hanging our hat on, and we will do so, I'd imagine, at Parkhead on Saturday. Kamal Roof will depart in the summer. Rangers need firepower in there, Stevie. Cyril Dessers, if he's happy being a squad player, are you keeping him around?
Watch me dodge this question quite well, Derek. Kamal Roof will leave Rangers. His time is up. Yeah. We know that. Cyril Dessers, I don't think was ever bought to be our number 9 first choice. I think he was bought to be, back up to Danilo long term. And if you look at the games that Danilo was fit, Danilo started. Cyril Dessers has done really well for Rangers to hit 20 goals. I don't think there's any need to kind of not praise that. However, his performance against Kilmarnock on Saturday is why everybody has reservations about Cyril Dessers. Yeah. Going to just shoot, shoot. It's so frustrating to watch, and I was on my sick bed watching him, and I didn't make it on Sunday. I didn't make it on the Monday either. So watching Cyril Dessers was quite frustrating, and that's why there's such a split opinion. But listen, here's the crux of it, Derek, and here's the absolute truth. Cyril Dessers has Saturday, and he has the Scottish Cup final to have a big moment at Rangers and start to flip people's opinion. If he has moments like he did last week, he has moments like he did at Parkhead in New Year, then there's no way back for him. And I would imagine that he would depart in the summer if that was the case. Because if you look back to Fashion Sakala last season, it's not too dissimilar. When Fashion, we know we can count on him to bang in some goals. But when it came to the crunch at Hampden against Celtic, I think twice, Fashion Sakala missed huge opportunities. And that maybe meant that when the summer came, Rangers felt £4 million and we couldn't really trust him. That would, let's move him on. I think there'll be massive interest in Cyril Dessers in the summer. There was in January, which Rangers had to kind of push back because he's the only one we had. And I can see movement around Dessers in the summer. I really can. If Danilo had stayed fit, I could have seen movement around Dessers in January. So it's interesting. But in regards to Cyril Dessers, if he wants to stay here and he wants a future at Rangers, he's got 2 more games in which he has to, at some point, get that moment, get that game. And I must admit, in the last Old Firm, I thought he was quite unlucky. That goal that was disallowed was very unlucky. And then, he had a shot in the last seconds, which was just by. And it's fine margins, I think. But please, Cyril, just do me a favour, big chap. Just shoot on Saturday. Please don't think about it. Please don't, you know what I mean? And somebody said to me at the weekend, Derek, I'd like to see Dessers on the penalties because James, I think, has missed quite a few this season. I don't know if it's 5 or 6 he's missed. And I laughed to myself and I thought, I wonder how Dessers would try and dribble round somebody in from a penalty before he shot. So please on Saturday, just shoot, big man, because you've got it. You can do it. You know what I mean? You can deflect it in off somebody, no problem at all. So just please shoot. That's all I want, Derek. You know what I mean? I've not been well, Cyril. Just make me better. You know what I mean? Just shoot.
Yeah, I was gutted he never had that moment at Ibrox. The pandemonium that ensued after he scored it against Celtic before the goal was ruled out. I really hope he gets that moment at Parkhead. I would love it, as Kevin Keegan famously said. Aaron Powell is very optimistic ahead of Saturday. He says Dessers becomes a Rangers legend this Saturday, 3-0. I would love you to be right, Aaron. I really would. Of course, that would mean that Rangers would retain top spot with 2 games remaining. Listen, it's winner bust on Saturday. Rangers need to be brave from the off, go out there and do the business. I think the first goal's massive, Stevie. I think Rangers historically down the year, I think Old Firm matches historically down the years, very rarely does a team come back from a goal deficit to go on and win the game. Rangers had scored first in occasions against Celtic when we came back up into the top division before Celtic came back to win the games. But with that crowd behind them, there will be a partisan atmosphere. They'll be expectant. Maybe complacency may set in, perhaps, but they'll be fully expecting Celtic to defeat Rangers on Saturday. But it's imperative Rangers start brightly. Like you say, Stevie, if chances come Cyril Dessers or anyone else's way, it's important they are taken, because if Rangers can get the first goal, they give themselves a right fighting chance, don't they?
Of course they do. I think that's a kind of obvious one. But as I said before, Derek, that in these games, Derek, if you look at every single game, the 1-0 defeat didn't start well. First half atrocious, going 1-0 down. Game at Parkhead, don't start well, go in 1-0 down, missing a host of chances. The game at Ibrox, 2-0. Half-time, an absolute mess.
Yes.
Then only start going kind of second half. I want a complete performance from Rangers in that if they don't win, let's do it on our own terms. Let's make sure that we give everything, mate. Let's make sure that we put everything out there. Let's make sure we perform. We cannot afford rabbits in the headlights stuff. We cannot afford our captain to be booting it off somebody 20 seconds into the game. We cannot afford for the players to freeze. This needs guts. It needs no guts, no glory. You know what I mean? It needs absolutely everything. Unfortunately for us, Derek, and if we're brutally honest, there's no history. There's no kind of context there for us to say we can trust this team to do that, because every opportunity with this squad, more or less, they have, or this core squad, they have managed to bottle it somewhat. So here's where the kind of realism and disappointment from people lies in. But what we've got to remember as well is this is a game of football. Anything can happen. You know, you could be 10 minutes in and player goes down from a tackle and you're down to 10 men, and anything can happen in this game of football. Rangers could go there and stun them and take the lead, and who knows? You know what I mean? And it's just whatever happens. What I do know is, Derek, that Brendan Rodgers' comments and the comments after the last Old Firm, which we spoke about when they were in their press conference and stuff, they are supremely confident, verging on arrogance towards what they think is an extremely weak Rangers team. And there might be a wee bit of complacency that creeps in if we can go and rattle them and shock them on Saturday. So I would love to think that the players would manifest everything and just, you know, have the balls to go there and really get into their face and just do it on their own terms. But we're talking about guys here that have never shown that in the past. So it's got to be Saturday. And what it's going to go one way or the other, Derek, you know, in terms of rather obvious. If we don't go on Saturday and give it absolutely everything, right? And we turn in a performance like the Van Bronckhorst kind of era where we're getting beat 3-4-0 or whatever. If that happens, the fallout will be nuclear, and you can expect every single player, you know, barring kind of Jack Butland, to be chased more or less from the support. It will be toxic. It will be nuclear.
Yeah.
But this is for many, I think, last chance saloon. I think that's not difficult to imagine. In the eyes of the support, we're sick and fed up of failure, Derek. I think that's absolutely fair. So I think everybody at the moment has kind of bit their tongue a wee bit and realised that we've still got a title to go for, whether we think it's viable or not. We've got a Scottish Cup final to play for. If things go horribly wrong on Saturday, those emotions won't be held back, and people will give it, you know, both barrels. So this is huge for this squad. It's huge for the future of many of these players, and it's huge for Philip Clement. He's got to get it right, Derek. This selection is absolutely huge. He's got to get this bit right. And the game's going to be won or lost in midfield with what he does. And I don't think he got it right in the last game at Ibrox. I don't think the legs in midfield, Lawrence and Lundstrom, don't think quite worked. And we were overran in there. Diamandi was basically overran. We've got to get it right. I don't think Fabio Silva should start. You know, where does Campbell play? You know, there's so many big questions, mate. So I think together we've got to get this right, and the players have got to get it bang on from the start. And I'm sick of watching games where we should be up for it and we're not. And it appears like we're kind of, you know, rabbits in the headlights, and it's happened quite a few times this year. So, you know, Betis away, Benfica away, kind of performance type levels, that fight, that desire, that's what we need to try and get from this squad.
Yeah, just 2 wins in the last 5 years at Parkhead, and it ties in nicely. Chris has written a great piece on the website this morning, folks, just on that win. Of course, Gerrard's first at Parkhead, at the Katic and Kent goals, and of course, the last victory was during the 55 season when the Connor Bolson double put Celtic to the sword. Let's hope we're talking about another Rangers victory on Saturday. Lots of interesting points coming in. First of all, King Charles Spaniel says, as a presser today, no, it is tomorrow, buddy. We'll get an update on who is available as James Skeen gets in touch. Any chance Sima or Matondo available for Saturday? No, Sima was training on his own. Matondo, I think the manager was making an assessment last week on whether he'd be available. He said he's still out. I think of the two, well, both would be good to have as options, Stevie. I don't think it'd be starting either of them low in this game, but it would be good if they are in contention, would it not?
It would be wonderful, Derek, wouldn't it? I wouldn't start Rabi either, regardless of how fit he is. I think impact sub, he could be very positive. I would love Abdallah Sima to be in and amongst it on Saturday. I've got a sneaking suspicion that you might see him. You just never know, because Rangers are very coy and very quiet over transfers and over injuries and things like that. So you never know who's going to be back. But based on, I don't know, gut feeling, based on hope, from a fan viewpoint, you know, I would sneaky suspicion maybe we'll see Sima on Saturday. But let's see how that one goes.
Yeah, we'll get an update on Leon Balogun as well tomorrow, folks, whether he is fit enough to feature across the city. At this point from CGM, he says, saw a rumour about Cantwell being benched and Raskin playing to do a job on McGregor. Thoughts? Well, Nico Raskin has been a bit part player under Philip Clement, Stevie. Has left a few supporters scratching their head as to why we've not seen more of him. Philip Clement was speaking about him recently in a press conference, saying that it's a very competitive area of the pitch. There's a lot of options in there. But I think the fact that Kieran Dowell has been preferred to him in recent weeks tells you everything you need to know. I would be surprised to see Raskin start on Saturday. Listen, he's a quality player, but for some reason or another, he's just not fancied.
It was me that asked the manager about Nico Raskin. Asked him what more he had to do. That's the frustration, I think, when Kieran Dowell can be out for 3 months and then come back in for 2 games and then disappear again. And it feels a wee bit like, and I've said this before, it feels a wee bit like there was a wee stage where Clement was kind of flinging things at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Yeah.
And Nico Raskin never got a look in, which was disappointing for me. Listen, how do I say this? I think my kind of thoughts on our midfield are well known, Derek. I don't think it's strong enough. I think there's players in there that are too slow. I think there's players in there that flatter to deceive. I think that those out of contract in the summer, I wouldn't be paying top dollar to keep them. Put it that way. I think some maybe think they're worth far more than they actually should be. So, on the future, and I spoke about this on Twitter the other night, and actually I think I answered a question wrong. The boy was talking about Saturday, and I kind of went more view. I would love to see Diamandi, Raskin, Dujon Sterling as our base midfielders for next season. I think the 3 of them, you get a proper number 6 in there next to them, Derek, because I think the number 6 is vital. You've got John Lundstrom trying to play that role, and I don't think he can do it. And yeah, he can do it at home to Kilmarnock, but in the big games, I think, Celtic and things like that, John Lundstrom hasn't really had a good game. So I think that's where it becomes vital. You see what Callum McGregor does for them. I don't think that we've had a player that can sit and dictate and do that since Stephen Davis left. And I think that's huge for us this summer. I would love to see Nico Raskin being more part of it. Do I see him coming in on Saturday? He's not dropping John Lundstrom as much as I might like that to happen. He's not going to do that. And I think that's the issue. At Ibrox, John Lundstrom and Tom Lawrence were ran over because they don't have the legs. They don't have the athleticism to kind of keep up. Nico Raskin, Dujon Sterling and Diamandi do have, but do they have the control of that midfield? Somebody to dictate. I'm not sure they do, but do we have the control of that midfield when John Lundstrom's in there anyway? In those type of games, I'm not sure we do. Could Raskin push further forward and Cantwell comes out? Then where does Dujon Sterling play? Because Dujon Sterling I want in the centre because I think that he's the one that you need to get in there.
Do you think he will play centrally though, Stevie? Because he has played out in the right the last couple of games.
I think he's wasted out there, Derek. Honestly, I know that the manager's got no options, right? I get it. But I would go Ross McCausland out there purely because he's natural. He does track back. He can get opportunities. I think that he can match Greg Taylor.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if you have Sterling, McCausland, Tavernier on that right-hand side, I'm kind of okay, comfortable with that. Sterling on the right can also get back and cover Tav on, if he's going forward and things like that. So there's a balance there. Same with Diamandi's left side. And Ridvan's there as well. You've got a balance there, Derek, which means the wingers you can even play them inverted. You can do other things with them. So I think that gives us a balance that we maybe don't have. Cantwell for me, I spoke about Todd Cantwell 2-3 months ago, Derek, on this platform and said that now's the time for him to kind of kick on and really push. And he had such a good spell there after Christmas. Then he got injured, and Todd Cantwell is not doing it for me at this moment in time. I don't want to be really harsh on him. He's a player that I really like, but he's not quite hitting the heights that I want him to hit. And I'm not sure Todd Cantwell, plays as a 10 for me. I think I would rejig it slightly. I'd be more inclined to have him inverted and maybe play him off the left. I wouldn't start Fabio Silva. I know he doesn't like playing out there, but you have to win that midfield. Hatate, O'Reilly, McGregor is so strong, whether we like it or not, and we don't. But we have to acknowledge it that they're good players and they will run over the top of us if that midfield is Lawrence, Lundstrom, Diamandi, because there's no legs in there aside of Mohamed Diamandi. So I think we need to change that. I think Raskin has got the energy, he's got the drive, he's got the ability, but we've got to remember as well, Niklas Raskin's not exactly played well. You know, when he played at home to Motherwell in that first half, he was awful. So there's a catch-22 there. Yeah, we'd like to see him in the team. And I think he's got capability. I seen him play a through pass for Sam Lammers against Celtic at Ibrox when Lammers rounded the keeper and put it wide. That was absolutely exquisite from Raskin. So he's got it. He can belt the ball. He's got everything, but he's not performed either. So it's not like you're bombing out a guy that's been a 10 out of 10 every week. You know, he spoke a lot about moving on to the Premiership and wanting to sing for Chelsea and doing all these things. Well, he hasn't performed in order to even get in our team yet. So yeah, I get the clamour for it, and I'd like to see it as well. I don't think many people are too happy with the midfield and, you know, the energy levels and the athleticism in there. I think it's a bit bland at times. I think Diamandi's made a huge difference. I really like him, but I think that comes out. I don't think it happens, Derek. Like, to be quite honest, what I feel, I don't think would happen anyway. But I would play Diamandi, Raskin, and Sterling in the middle on Saturday if I was picking the team, absolutely, and I would get their energy and I would go from there. So sorry to John Lundstrom, but I think John Lundstrom's time at Rangers is coming to an end, Derek. So I don't think in these big games that he's got the legs. I don't think he's shown it against Celtic yet at all. So harsh. Maybe people will disagree completely. And by the way, I think John Lundstrom's had a decent enough season, but I wouldn't be playing him on Saturday at Parkhead.
We need industry legs, as you said, and energy in that middle of the park on Saturday. At defence, Stevie, of course, Leon taking off at half-time, injured. Ben Davies coming on, did well, marked his return with a goal. Do you have concerns with that centre-back pairing if Leon is available? Are you sticking with the Balogun-Suter partnership, or are you sticking Davies in there?
No, I mean, of course I've got concerns. Last time Ben Davies and John Suter were at centre-back at Parkhead, they both sold goals, didn't they? So in the 3-2 game, and they were both horrendous. John Suter passed it back. I think Jota nipped it, had scored. Ben Davies had the one that came down from the sky and he led it. You know, so yeah, of course. And Ben Davies would have looked good on Sunday. I could have looked good on Sunday at centre-back, Derek, because Kilmarnock had nobody up front and it was 10 men and everybody was in their box and he was allowed to stroll about and do well. Listen, Ben Davies isn't a Rangers centre-back, in my opinion. Would I play him ahead of Leon Balogun? No. Do I think Leon Balogun will make it on Saturday? No, probably not. That back issue. No, never luck. Derek, he's probably got a slipped disc and he'll be out for about 8 months. No, never injuries, you know what I mean? Somebody goes down with a dodgy knee and it's you know, they're out for months and months. I don't hold out much hope for him on Saturday, Derek. Ben Davies, would I play Ben Davies? To be honest, no, I probably wouldn't. But naturally, he'll come in instead of Leon. So, would it be Leon and John? It would be. And Leon Balogun didn't exactly have a good game at New Year at Parkhead either. Ended up getting sent off. So, listen, whoever plays there, and John Suter is going to be massive for us. John Suter's a leader at the back. He's the one that is going to win things. He needs to have a faultless game because he's got a mistake in him as well. So I don't know, Derek. It's, you know, it is what it is. In the future, you know, I mean, Jose Cordoba will fit in there quite lovely, you know what I mean? And he'll be an excellent centre half for us. But Ben Davies, let's be honest. If we're going to be honest, doesn't have a future at Rangers. You know, Leon Balogun long term doesn't have a future at Rangers. Short term, he might get another deal depending on who gets in. But sooner or later, Derek, we're going to need to be a wee bit ruthless in these positions and just be honest and say, look, these guys aren't good enough when it comes to future-wise. But on Saturday, it's just going to need to be, you know, horses for courses. Whoever plays in there needs to have a very strong game, that's for sure.
Yeah, they all need to do. But we'll wrap up with this, folks. You will have seen news yesterday. Rangers will unveil the Walter Smith statue. It will be a bronze statue in the corner of the stadium between the Edmondson House and the Copeland Road stand. They'll unveil it on Scottish Cup final day on Saturday, May the 25th. It's been sculpted by the London-based artist Douglas Jennings. He's sculpted a number of football-related statues at clubs up and down the country. Full details of the unveiling ahead of that cup final will be communicated by the club in the near future. But very much looking forward to that. Long overdue, Stevie. And I think, it'll be a good addition to the footprint in and around Ibrox that we honour Sir Walter.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'd quite like them to maybe rename the bit outside of the Copeland where he's going to be, that pathway between the stand and New Edmiston House
Good
could
point.
easily be Walter's Way.
Yep.
I think that would be, whatever you wanted to call it. It doesn't need to be Walter's Way, whatever. But I'd like to really see us try and rename that and put the statue in there. Look, the statue is long overdue. I think, there was talk of it being October, Christmas, and now we're here. So I'm delighted we are here, and it's more important that we get it right than we get it on time, I think, in my opinion. Walter's certainly the greatest figure at the club in my lifetime, that's for sure. A wonderfully splendid man to speak to, a very dry sense of humour, and I just thought that he's wonderful to deal with, Derek. When I first started floating around kind of Rangers, the training ground and stuff like that, and watching the young players, I remember watching Danny Wilson and standing next to Walter at the Rangers training ground when he played for the 18s with a number of the boys, big Ross Matheson, a big pal of mine, and we were watching and we seen Walter and stuff like that. So, Walter was an amazing man, but what he done for Rangers, and the company that he kept and how much he was loved by people just spoke volumes for him, I think. And there's not a night, Derek, that I don't do with Durant or Boydie or something where you hear a new story about Walter, and it's absolutely brilliant. And I think his legacy will always live on at Rangers, which it should. One of the club's finest ever men. I think that's fair to say. So to get that statue would be lovely. I think I'll certainly be kind of hopefully pushing for a wee bit more as well, and let's see what else we can name after him. I don't know if we could name a stand. I'm not sure we could do that. We've got the Sandy Jardine stand, which I think is a lovely tribute to Sandy. Walter's Way, I think something like that, out there with his statue and things would be a lovely tribute to him as well. But I know his family have worked with the sculptor quite a bit to make sure it's right and make sure it looks good. So it's going to be something that we can all visit and be proud of as well. So yeah. Absolutely great that it's been done, Derek, and he deserves it. Look, Walter Smith, we could do a podcast and talk for hours about Walter Smith and the decisions and the tactical stuff. And Walter Smith, 9 men in the cup final, taking over from Ali McCoist and telling him to go and sit down while he orchestrates a victory with 9 men in a League Cup final. And it's incredible. So Kenny Miller tells a good story about that, actually, when I know everybody knows about it, and Ali's on the side and Walter goes out and just says, Ali, sit down, I'm taking over. And he starts barking out orders, telling the team, just get tight, you go here, McCulloch into centre back, if you get the opportunity, step out, let's keep it tight, let's try and play for a set piece, basically. And out he goes, and Davey strides out and passes it to Nazy. Nazy runs 70 yards and crosses at pinpoint for Kenny Miller, and during that time in the celebration, and Walter celebrates, and what's the first thing he does? Shouts over Nacho Novo and tells Nacho Novo, change your shape again, go even tighter, this is how you play. Man was a genius. So it's going to be a lovely thing to have, Derek. So much deserved.
Yeah, we could be doing with them in the dugout on Saturday.
Listen, if Walter was in the dugout on Saturday, we would win 1-0. They would have about 18 cleared opportunities at the post, the bar, about 1 million times, and Rangers would go up the park once and score. So yeah, we would win that 1-0 with Walter, no problem at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, folks, that'll do us there. Thank you to each and every one of you for interacting with the show as ever. It's much appreciated. Just a heads up for those of you that are Rangers Review Extra members, I'll be on for our second Q&A show of the week around about 1 o'clock, and I'm joined by both Adam Thornton and Ali Bain. So a double helping for you later on today, folks. Do go and tune in, Stevie.
That's tactical. That's tactical overload with those boys, isn't it? So,
yeah, if you want any tactics questions, folks, fire them in, and we'll get Ali and Adam to answer them as best as they can. Don't put them to me, that's for sure. Right, we'll be back tomorrow morning for the rest of you guys as we begin the big build up to Saturday's Judgment Day at Parkhead. But a big thanks to Stevie as ever, and we'll speak to you a little later on. Bye for now.